Did God plan Judas to betray Jesus? It's important for us to understand the context. When we say that it is in accordance with the scripture, it does not mean to say that God has, so to speak, planned it in such a way that Judas would be forced to betray Jesus. In the light of God's plan, God sees all our actions, God sees all our motives, but God, in His goodness, respects our freedom to act. Just because He knows that Judas would betray Jesus, that did not make God stop Judas from doing it. God respects our freedom. This is the greatest act of love. Even that freedom could hurt himself or herself. He gives us absolute freedom. You choose. That does not mean to say that if we choose the wrong way, we are doomed. Because you notice there is always the question of forgiveness. On one hand, they give us the freedom. On the other hand, forgiveness is always there to reassure us. And this is where we see the difference between Judas and Peter. Peter was also given the same freedom to confess in Jesus or to deny him. And so in the case of Judas, this is where he wanted to take things into his own hands. Unfortunately, he could not see the plan of God for Jesus. The plan of God is that Jesus would be the suffering servant, for that is the way God will change people's hearts. Jesus did not come in a triumphant manner because the way of Jesus is always of non-violence. It is the way of appealing to our love, appealing to our sentiments, that we would change our lives, not because out of fear, but because of the love that He has shown to us. And when we see Jesus showing that kind of love, perhaps our hearts will be radically changed. That is why the way that God saves us is through the death, through the passion of His Son. But Judas could not accept it. Judas had his own plans. He has his own ideas of how Jesus could save Israel. He did not trust in God's plan. Jesus was simply living out His message. He believes that the way to overcome our enemies is through forgiveness, through non-violence. And that is why you notice Jesus continued to reach out to Judas. But Judas, his mind was made up. It was the last appeal of love. Jesus was still extending his friendship, knowing that he had betrayed him. That is the love of Jesus. Unfortunately, Judas did not respond to that last appeal. In the case of Peter, he also denied Jesus. But what's the difference? Peter did not give up on himself, unlike Judas. So actually it was very tragic. The greatest tragedy for Judas is not that he betrayed Jesus, but he could have repented. God did not make him commit suicide. If he had made his mistake of betraying Jesus, wanting things his own way, then actually he still could be saved. Unfortunately, he could not forgive himself. He could not forgive his mistake. He was too proud. And so he ended his life. In the case of Peter, he felt sorry. He was humiliated. He was in deep remorse. And he accepted the forgiveness of our Lord at the resurrection. So today, we ask the Lord to give us this same grace that we will be able to respond to Jesus' last appeal to us before the Passion, that we are called to give our lives to Him and to love Him more. And so as we contemplate His Passion, let us be moved in our hearts so that we too can love like Him.